The story begins with a couple named Robin and Dan. After years of trying to conceive without success, they decide to adopt. One day, they visit a local orphanage where the director introduces them to a quiet 9-year-old girl named Cathelia. She has never spoken since she was brought to the facility. Despite her silence, Robin and Daniel feel a connection and decide to bring her home that same day. At their house, Robin leads Daniel to a special room they had prepared years ago for a future child. Cathelia lights up when she sees it. The room is filled with toys and vintage dolls that once belonged to Robin. For a brief moment, the family shares a sense of peace and hope. Robin attempts small talk with Cathelia, asking if she likes vegetables, trying to bond. Then, Robin's phone rings. It's her mother. The mood changes when her mother warns her that she found disturbing information about Cathelia online. She insists the girl is dangerous, but Robin doesn't believe her. Later, Robin brings lunch outside to Daniel and Cathelia. They begin to eat, but something is wrong. The food tastes spoiled, even though it was freshly prepared. Daniel checks the refrigerator, but everything seems normal. A quiet sense of unease begins to settle over the house. That evening, Robin tries to comfort Cathelia, who is still distant. She gently approaches, trying to gain her trust. It's revealed that Robin had previously lost 4 children, a detail that helps explain her emotional connection to Cathelia. That night, a quiet bond begins to form between them. Before bed, Robin gives Cathelia a small stuffed animal for comfort. Later that night, after everyone has gone to sleep, Cathelia gets up. She walks to the kitchen, opens a drawer, and takes a knife. Outside, near the backyard pool, something dark floats in the water, its shape unclear. The next morning, Daniel steps outside with his coffee and notices something strange beneath the pool's surface. He stares, unsure of what he's seeing. When he tells Robin, her first response is to ask where the kitchen knives are. Daniel doesn't know. Robin seems unfazed and leaves for work. Later, while Daniel is in his home office, Cathelia enters. He asks if anything strange happened during her first night, but she doesn't respond. Instead, she becomes curious about his medical tools, reaching for them. Daniel gently stops her, saying they aren't toys. Outside, Cathelia meets a neighborhood girl named Fiona who has special needs. On her first day, Cathelia appears to be fitting in surprisingly well, already playing with the other children. Meanwhile, Daniel is cleaning one of the bedrooms when a blanket slips off the bed. A kitchen knife falls to the floor, the same one that had gone missing. Outside, Cathelia talks to Fiona's mother, who seems cautious and guarded. Fiona looks toward the back door and says quietly that she sees no one standing. Robin starts to grow suspicious of Fiona and her mother, but Daniel dismisses her concerns, reminding her that Fiona's mother is just a single parent trying her best. To ease tensions, he shows Robin the missing kitchen knife. When she asks where he found it, his answer troubles her: in Cathelia's room. That night, Cathelia sneaks out of her room again. This time, she enters Daniel's office and carefully selects one of the tools from his shelf, almost like she knows what it's for. The next morning, Robin hears faint whispers echoing through the hallway as she tidies up. She searches each room, but finds nothing unusual. Still, the feeling that something is wrong stays with her. Later, while outside having a cigarette, Robin shares her concerns with Daniel. She says something doesn't feel right in the house ever since Cathelia arrived. Daniel tries to reassure her and suggests hosting a small gathering to lift their spirits. The next day is the neighborhood block party. Cathelia is visibly anxious around the large crowd. When Robin introduces her to other guests, she barely speaks. Things escalate when a girl nearby whispers rumors about Cathelia's parents' deaths. Cathelia snaps and attacks the girl, knocking her to the ground with shocking force. Robin pulls her away just in time. That night, while everyone is relaxing by the pool, Cathelia slips out of the house and wanders into the nearby woods. She steps on something sharp, falls, and hits her head on a rock. Inside, as Robin and Daniel get ready for bed, they realize Cathelia is missing. Daniel rushes outside and finds her unconscious on the ground. He carries her inside without saying a word. That night, Cathelia has a nightmare. In it, she watches her father being attacked. A stranger tries to pull her away from him. Frozen in fear, she sees the stranger kill her father. The next morning, there's a knock on the door. Daniel opens it to find Fiona, asking if Cathelia can come play. He hesitates, but Fiona walks into the house without waiting for an answer. The girls begin playing together. Daniel watches them for a moment before turning to leave. Then Fiona says something unsettling. The monsters are coming, not just anywhere, but here to this house. Daniel brushes it off as imagination and tells them to have fun. Later, while the girls play alone, Fiona leans in and whispers to Cathelia. She asks if Cathelia knows about the monsters that hurt people. She repeats the question in a softer voice. Suddenly, Fiona bolts out of the room, clearly frightened. Meanwhile, Robin finds something disturbing while cleaning Cathelia's room. Hidden under the bed is a stash of Daniel's tools. Neither of them knew she had taken them. Alarmed, they schedule an appointment with a child psychologist to understand what might be happening. At the appointment, the psychologist asks Cathelia to draw a picture of her parents. When she finishes, the drawing is unsettling and deeply disturbing. Robin becomes pale and runs to the bathroom. While looking at herself in the mirror, a strange smile forms on her face. Afterward, hoping to improve Cathelia's mood, they take her to a children's play area. While there, Robin tells Daniel something unexpected. She believes adopting Cathelia was a mistake and now feels the girl is a danger to them both. Daniel tries to reason with her, saying Cathelia is just a grieving child. But Robin won't listen. She turns away, ending the conversation. Suddenly, Robin reveals that she's pregnant. After years of trying, they're finally expecting. Daniel is overwhelmed with joy. The next morning, Robin rests in bed while Daniel steps outside for coffee. Cathelia enters the room and silently stares at Robin's stomach. Without warning, she lunges at Robin, clawing at her belly. Robin screams. Daniel runs in and pulls Cathelia away. Robin, shaken and in pain, insists that Cathelia is dangerous and must leave. She demands Daniel take action to protect their unborn child. Daniel tries to speak calmly with Cathelia, explaining that her actions were unacceptable. Cathelia begins to pack her things. Daniel tells her they still care about her and want her to have a real life, but he must protect his family. In response, Cathelia hands Daniel a note with an address written on it. Later that day, Daniel and Cathelia drive to the address. When no one answers the front door, Daniel walks around to the back and finds a door slightly ajar. Inside, the house is dim and silent. A woman's voice calls out, asking who's there. After he explains, she allows him in. She has a deep wound on her knee. As they talk, she reveals that she knows Cathelia and says the girl is dangerous. When Daniel asks if Cathelia caused the injury, the woman quietly nods. Suddenly, they hear a noise. Cathelia has entered the house. She lunges at the woman again, but restraints stop her. The woman's husband appears and yells to Daniel that Cathelia is not a normal child. He urges Daniel to get away from her while he still can. Outside, the man pulls Daniel aside and says if he cares about his family, he must keep them far away from Cathelia. For the first time, Daniel hesitates. As they drive away, he looks at Cathelia and tells her not to believe what others say. He insists she's a good girl. Before he can say more, the woman they just visited runs into the street, trying to stop them. Daniel swerves and drives off. When they arrive home, Robin greets them calmly and tells Daniel she felt the baby move. Everything seems okay again, and she's ready to move forward as a family. The next day, Robin visits a clinic for a prenatal checkup. During the exam, the doctor shows her a glass vial and studies it under a microscope. A serious look crosses the doctor's face. She urges Robin to go to the hospital for more tests. Robin refuses, repeating that her baby is healthy. She leaves the office visibly upset. Back home, Robin searches the house in a frenzy. She's convinced someone is behind all the strange events, especially Cathelia. She storms into the girl's room and declares that she's no longer needed. Robin says her baby is enough now, and Cathelia is no longer part of their family. Shocked and hurt, Cathelia lashes out violently. A struggle breaks out. Robin escapes and flees the house in fear. Cathelia runs to Fiona's home and hides inside. In a dim room, she finds Fiona playing with insects. Fiona smiles and whispers that they talk to her. She says Cathelia can hear them too if she listens. Suddenly, Fiona hits Cathelia on the head. Panic breaks out. An ambulance is called, and Cathelia is rushed to the hospital. Scans show no life-threatening injuries, but the doctor finds something odd. There's evidence of an old skull injury that should have been treated long ago. Even stranger, the bone structure has adapted around it in a way that's not normal. The doctor says more tests are needed. That night, after putting Cathelia to bed, Daniel tells Robin she's rested. Robin coldly replies that she doesn't care. She says they finally have a child of their own and no longer need Cathelia. Daniel becomes concerned by her tone. When he asks if she's okay, she insists that she is, but her eyes suggest otherwise. The next morning, Daniel sees Fiona standing alone, watching their house. Before he can approach, she disappears. He notices a stuffed toy nearby, the same one Cathelia always keeps close. Feeling uneasy, he calls the hospital. Daniel and Cathelia return to meet with the doctor, who shows them the CT scan results. He explains that Cathelia had a twin in the womb. That twin didn't survive, but wasn't lost. Instead, it was absorbed by Cathelia. A portion of a twin remains inside her head. That evening, Daniel returns home, overwhelmed by the news. As he steps inside, he notices blood smeared along the hallway. Following the trail, he finds Robin standing in the nursery, holding something strange. When Daniel questions her, she replies that she isn't going to the hospital. She insists this is the time their daughter was meant to be born. Daniel looks down and sees a small creature in her arms. He is frozen in shock. Outside in the car, Cathelia waits silently. She holds up a stuffed doll and tells Daniel that Fiona said she can help. Desperate for answers, Daniel drives to Fiona's house. He speaks with Lizzie, Fiona's mother, and brings up Cathelia's injury and the strange events that have been happening. Lizzie becomes defensive, insisting that Fiona is just a child. But as tensions calm, she begins to share something personal. She says Fiona has always been different. Since birth, Fiona has been able to see both worlds, the physical and something beyond. Daniel looks at Fiona and asks what she sees now. Fiona replies, "The monster. It's not outside your home. It's with your wife." Terrified but determined, Daniel begs Fiona for help. She agrees. They prepare a ritual space. Fiona lights candles and begins chanting in an unknown language. Her voice changes and she falls silent. Then she speaks clearly. The only way to end the horror is to remove what's inside Cathelia's head. Meanwhile, Robin's doctor arrives at the house. No one answers the door, so she cautiously enters, hoping to speak about Cathelia. As soon as she steps inside, she senses something is wrong. Robin, now completely transformed into something monstrous, silently watches her. The doctor turns to leave, but Daniel arrives at the door. Before anything can be said, Robin suddenly appears behind them with scissors. She stabs Daniel in the stomach and attacks the doctor, striking her repeatedly. Robin then begins searching the house for Cathelia. The girl has hidden inside a closet. Robin finds her and drags her toward the backyard pool, intending to drown her. Just as she's about to force Cathelia into the water, Lizzie and Fiona arrive. Inside the house, they find Daniel barely alive, losing blood quickly. Lizzie calls the police, but before help can arrive, Robin attacks again. A violent struggle follows, and Robin is killed during the fight. Later, Fiona and Cathelia barricade themselves inside a room. Robin had tried to break in and kill them both. Fiona turns to Daniel and tells him what must be done. He must remove the parasitic twin inside Cathelia's skull to end everything. Though he hesitates, Cathelia nods in agreement. Daniel begins the painful process. As he cuts, Robin, now dead, screams in agony, the pain somehow reaching her beyond death. Suddenly, Daniel stops, overcome with emotion. He believes Cathelia has died. He collapses in grief, sobbing over her body. Then, in a final, shocking moment, the parasite bursts from Cathelia's skull. She turns to Daniel and calmly says, "Dad." Without hesitation, she grabs the creature, her parasitic twin, and snaps its neck. The nightmare is finally over. In the final scene, Robin's lifeless body is shown, but something is still moving inside her, and the movie ends here.